Welcome to my introduction to Google search. In this video, I hope to break down the basics of getting your site to rank on Google for the search terms and the phrases that you want. What I need to be clear about is I can't teach you 10 years of experience in one video. And this is in the same way as if you did a video about your profession, you wouldn't expect me to be as much of an expert as you. But that doesn't mean you can't have a general understanding of the principles of Google search. So you can either implement an SEO strategy, or if you're paying someone, that you are confident in what they are doing. Google has recently created some resources for website owners to understand the basics. And I think these are actually a really good starting point. But I think the content needs to be positioned slightly differently. So let's start by understanding what Google wants to do. See, their aim is to present the best results to someone searching. They don't really care about you. Their only concern is that the person searching finds the right result. So let's break this down into a simple search and how Google ranks content. Let's say someone searches, when was the Eiffel Tower built? Now, ignoring the featured snippet for now, if you search that, you would want Google to present you with a web page that told you exactly when it was built. Sounds obvious. Now, the issue Google have is that there'd be more than one site giving that answer. So it needs a way to decide which site to show first, which site to show second, and so on and so on. And this is where its algorithm comes into play. It uses an algorithm to compare lots of different factors and work out which site is the best result to present to that searcher. And this is a bit like how we as humans sort information when comparing products. If we're comparing, say, 3 products, we might look at the pros and the cons of each one, and then find one that best suits us. It doesn't mean that the product we choose is the best ever and all the others are rubbish. It just means we've weighed up the odds and picked the one that best suits our needs. So the first thing a website needs to do is actually answer that query. You must have content related to the search term, and this is why keyword research is really important. You need to know which search terms you want to rank for and then create content around this. So let's jump back to the Eiffel Tower search. Multiple websites answer that query. So one of the first things Google may look at is Core Web Vitals, which is basically the technical side of how a website loads and the experience that people get. First up would be, does it work on mobile? If a site doesn't, then it's probably off the list because Google uses mobile first ranking, meaning that it's the mobile version of your website that Google uses to decide its position. Google then looks at other factors such as speed. You will know that if a site takes 5 seconds to load, you get frustrated and leave. So if out of the 2 websites that answer when the Eiffel Tower was built, one site loads in 1 second and the other one loads in 5 seconds, it's much more likely that the quicker one is going to win the race to the top of the ranking. But let's just consider that all of these sites have been built in the last few years, in which case they should meet the basics of Google's technical algorithm. They will work on mobile and they will load in a suitable time. See, for basic level SEO, while speed and these other factors are important, I wouldn't spend 2 days trying to shave 0.01 of a second off the loading speed. It just isn't worth it. But you do need your site to meet the minimum technical requirements as set by Google. So after all the technical requirements that Google uses, Google then start to look at other factors beside that and the initial content. So if 2 sites answer the query, when was the Eiffel Tower built, but one provides further information such as who built it, how much did it cost, how long did it take to build, etc., then that site looks like a more useful and helpful site to the visitor, as it adds further context to the initial query. And then let's take this a step further. If the site also has blogs about other landmarks, including best place to visit in Paris, then it becomes an authority on Paris landmarks, and Google therefore are much more likely to recommend it. This is in exactly the same way as you may recommend a shop that not only stocks the item someone has asked you about, but has lots of other related items, because then going to that shop just becomes a better experience. So we know that Google will be looking at a site that works on all devices, that it loads nice and quick, and as well as answering the initial query, Google prefers experts in the field, so producing other related and relevant content. But it doesn't stop here. Almost anyone can create a website and publish lots of content. So Google start to use other things within their algorithm. They might look at the domain age. So if a website has been around for say 10 years, it will have a much higher score than a website that's only 2 months old. Google will then start to consider factors outside of your website to see if you're actually a good fit. If 2 sites have the content which answer the search query, it may look at how many Google reviews you have. If one has none and the other has 50, then rightly so, Google believes the one with the more reviews could be a better fit. And in similar vein, if other websites have linked to your site saying how good it is, Google can use this as a signal that others recommend it. So it could be that someone's written a blog about their holiday in Paris and they link to your site saying how helpful it was to get some ideas of where to visit. Google may also start looking at other factors such as your social media accounts. Do you have them? Are you active? See, does Google want to recommend a website where the company might not even be in business anymore? Or does it want to recommend one where they post to social media regularly, where they keep updating their website and talking about topics that are very similar to the search query that you're trying to rank for? You can start to see that Google's algorithm is huge. In fact, it's believed to cover over 200 different factors, and these are constantly changing. So I want to make an analogy, and that is that SEO is like training for a 10k run. If you're new to running, you're going to need to put in a lot of effort into your training to get yourself just fit enough to be able to actually enter the race. Then additionally, you need to work just as hard to become the fastest runner and win the 10k race. But once you've won, is that enough? Can you stop training and carry on winning? Probably not. And for 2 reasons. 1, your fitness will deteriorate and you'll get slower. And secondly, others will be trying to win the race and training towards it. And this is exactly the same as SEO. Getting to the top is one thing, keeping your position is another. So my top tip is keep generating content, keep making changes to your website, because you will start to see some improvements. I hope you enjoyed this basic introduction and it's given you some insight into what Google uses to rank your content. If you have enjoyed it, please subscribe and please let me know, as I plan to create a much more advanced course covering alt tags and internal linking, because these can further improve your SEO.